ladies and gentlemen, prospectors of Icarus, welcome back. This is AOR, and in today's episode, I wanted to highlight just a few things that I felt were pretty exciting to me in reviewing what they have released in this update, number 142 for Icarus. Right at the very top, though, this is something that's pretty significant that I would be remiss not to point out. They have improved the performance of the game by removing the tick costs from spline networks and reducing the building base tick. That tick is like your frame or frame rate, where your GPU or CPU is allocating energy to maintain that cost. That's now removed. So you will see an improvement in your game performance, in your gaming experience, while also avoiding the wear and tear to things like your GPU and CPU. So that's super convenient. This is exactly what we want to see from the devs over at Icarus, especially going forward. A category that is a personal favorite of mine, the quality of life within the game. This is a much welcomed upgrade. I have used that seed pouch very many times early game. Lately, I've just stopped using it because it's so inconvenient. So now you can add the medical satchel, seed pouch, and the farmer's bag to your inventory on your hotbar, and then right click them to open it. Historically, if you did that, you would just drop the item. It was super frustrating. But at least now you can also drag and drop items on top of them. Again, really convenient. The biofuel portable tank. It used to be 10 liters. So for my fellow Americans out there, it's 2.6 gallons. Now it's 150 liters, which is essentially 40 gallons. So this is a huge quality of life improvement. Big fan. Lastly, the ammo. Explosive ammo was kind of hard to craft. It seemed way too expensive in my opinion. But at least now it's a 1 to 5 ratio. So for every one volatile substance, you can craft 5 explosive ammo. So really nice return on the investment. I appreciate that the devs are reviewing where things need to be scaled properly and allow you to have more time doing things you enjoy doing and less time feeling like you're grinding for no return on your investment on time. As someone who enjoys the base building process within Icarus, I would have to say I'm a huge fan to start implementing these changes into my own base. We have the corner stairs and half stairs, which now have a half piece but in an L formation. So I'm a huge fan of the aesthetics, and I look forward to implementing this personally, and I can't wait to try it out. Here in this picture, if you take a look, you'll see a prospector wearing a ghillie suit, and they're holding a shotgun, shooting what looks like dragon's breath if you watch John Wick 4, aka the incendiary round, at a bear. It's the most American thing I've seen today. What they've done is they've revamped the way shotgun ammo is crafted. It used to be that you needed the general ammo casings, which was like a one-size-fits-all, so it's the same thing you use for pistol, same thing you use for rifle and shotgun. But now, the shotgun has its own cartridge, and it's also cheaper to craft. It's 1 copper and 3 epoxy, and that will basically procure or produce 5 shotgun cartridges. So again, small tweak, super convenient, super appreciated. Very soon we should be seeing null sector being dropped. Like, null sector should be, I think, a pretty nice welcome change, especially for those of you who already own New Frontiers expansion. I personally haven't gotten it yet, and I look forward to. But they've already made mention of dropping new map areas, new operations, and a new exploration mechanic, which I can't even imagine what that would look like, but I'm looking forward to it. A plethora of mutated creatures and 1 new giant creature, so pretty stoked on the null sector update. In the new content category, I wanted to point out that I'm not entirely sure if this was really an upgrade. I certainly don't think of it as an improvement personally. So when it comes to lightning rods, historically the basic lightning rod was a one and done situation. If it got hit by lightning once, it was dead. Now it can get hit 3 times. But in looking at this last part, it says they changed the AOE from 30 meters to 50 meters, which, if I'm understanding this correctly, the area of effectiveness is now larger. So I interpret that to mean that you're more likely to get struck by lightning. So it's kind of like a negative gain. Like there's no net gain on this. Like, yes, it can take more hits, but also you're more likely to get hit. So I'm not really sure how you feel about storms in Icarus, but I personally have a healthy fear of storms already. Like when I'm running out and about, I'm like, oh, storm coming, it's time to head home. So I'm not quite sure how to feel about this one. I am using the Platinum Lightning Rod, so I do appreciate that it's now 9 hits instead of 4. Dude, the 30 meters to 80 meters AoE is like not ideal. Again, I could be interpreting this wrong, guys, and if I am, I apologize. But at least as far as I'm understanding it, this doesn't really seem like something I would like to have. But something I am super excited about is they are adding an animation behavior to mounts and tames. So what this will look like is, I imagine, for your chickens, your sheep, your horses, all those animals that graze, they're now going to have a behavior that you can unlock using their skill and talent tree that will allow them to eat passively. So you should see that in the savings of your time spent crafting, gathering resources to make them feed. It will also add like a certain level of immersion and realism. And it's those little tweaks, man, I'm telling you, that like I really appreciate, especially because this is a DLC that I already own. So I appreciate the devs going back in and looking for ways to implement changes to things that already exist within game. How I would like to see this implemented in the future. I have quite a few wolves, and I would love if they could eat the animals they kill. Within their parameters, I have them set to wander around the base, and they're like my bodyguards. If anything, like a Tyrannus, a wolf, any creature that would have aggroed on me and attacked me, they will just run out and murder that animal, and then it kind of just sits there and takes up like space in my proximity, and I'm sure it drops my frame rates a little bit. So I think it would be an incredible use of that mechanic in the game if they could just eat it, because then it saves me time. I don't have to gather resources and then craft to make them additional feed when they can just eat the animals they kill. I think that would be something I would love to see in the future, but we'll see. Who knows? And then lastly, I wanted to show you guys 2 things that I found to be particularly hilarious. I was dying laughing when I read this, and I hope you guys can come to appreciate it. But I'm going to highlight this so you can see what I'm reading as I read it. Having been in the corporate field for quite some time now, you can generally tell when like coworkers don't like each other, and you'll know what sorts of dialogue or actions, especially like in corporate emails, they'll use to disguise their absolute disgust and disdain for each other. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. So let me read this for you. Lowered the opacity as well as height, detail, and roughness for the wire grid and the tempered glass textures material as requested by Dean. I'll be honest, I'm not really even entirely sure what this was an update for. Maybe a mesh? But what I can tell you is whoever Dean is and whoever made this update, they absolutely hate Dean. Like, Dean was probably making a super niche, very nuanced request of whoever made this update, and they were inundated, busy, hated making the update, and it's kind of like a petty, venomous, and kind of tactical, I hate you, this is for you, you're welcome. I think that's what this dialogue is here. I couldn't help but laugh. It was epic. And then I read this. Fixed issue where cats wouldn't appear to sleep on beds properly. I was in tears when I read for clients. You already know there was a corporate meeting, and the cat lady at work was super upset because for whatever reason, she didn't like the way it looked when the cats would jump into bed. And when they were thinking of which words to use here, you definitely know they wanted to pick a different C word, but because it was going to be published and corporate would be seeing it, they chose the wiser. Anyways, guys, I would definitely recommend reading through this thing in its entirety. Also, something to make note of is down here, there are discussions where other topics are being held about the update. Definitely worth your time browsing. Like I said, in the future, I would not be opposed to reading through these for all of you. If you would like that, please let me know in the comments down below. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. I love you. And thank you for joining me on this episode. I hope you enjoy week 142, the update to Icarus. Until next time, take care.